I woke up in a stranger's bed. Not in the way you're thinking, though that would have been simpler. No, I woke up in silk sheets that cost more than my monthly rent, in a room so white and sterile it felt like a hospital, with no memory of how I got there. My clothes were gone, replaced by an oversized black shirt that smelled like expensive cologne. And standing at the foot of the bed, backlit by floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's glittering skyline, was the most terrifying man I'd ever seen. "You're awake," he said, voice flat as winter frost. "Good. We need to talk about why you were dying on my doorstep." My hand instinctively went to my stomach. "The baby. Oh God, the baby." "Relax," he continued, those sharp eyes missing nothing. "I had my private doctor examine you. You're fine. The fetus is fine, though your blood pressure is dangerously high for someone 12 weeks pregnant." Fetus. He said it like a medical diagnosis, not a life. "Who are you?" My voice cracked. "Where am I?" Cha Seo-jin, CEO of Cha Industries. "This is my penthouse." He moved to pour himself whiskey from a crystal decanter, movements precise and controlled. "You collapsed in the rain outside my hotel. My driver wanted to call an ambulance, but..." He paused, something flickering behind those cold eyes. "I brought you here instead." "Why?" "That's what I'd like to know. Why is someone in your condition sleeping rough on the streets?" The question hit like a physical blow. 24 hours ago, I had a home, a boyfriend, a future. Now I had nothing but the life growing inside me and the clothes I'd shoved into a suitcase before Jiwoo threw me out. "You did this on purpose." Jiwoo had screamed, throwing the positive pregnancy test at my face. "Trying to trap me with some bastard Omega baby." I'd stumbled backward, hand protectively covering my stomach. "Jiwoo, please, I didn't. We can figure this out." "Figure what out? That you're a fucking mistake? That I've been sleeping with Hae-jin for 6 months because at least he doesn't make me feel suffocated?" His beautiful face twisted with disgust. "Get out. I want you gone before I get back. This is my apartment too. I pay half the rent." He'd laughed, actually laughed. "You mean the rent I've been covering since you lost your job? Please, Minjun. You own nothing. You are nothing. I asked you a question." Seo-jin's voice snapped me back to the present. He was closer now, studying me like I was a problem to solve. "What's your name?" "Kang Minjun." The words felt foreign, like I was introducing a stranger. "And the father?" My throat tightened. "Gone. He didn't want it. Didn't want me." Seo-jin's jaw clenched, just for a moment, before his expression smoothed back into that unreadable mask. He downed his whiskey in one swallow. "You'll stay here." "What? No, I can't." "You can and you will." He cut me off with the authority of someone used to being obeyed. "You're malnourished, dehydrated, and stressed. In your condition, another night on the streets could kill you both. I'm not your responsibility." "No," he agreed, refilling his glass. "You're not. But you remind me of someone who needed help and didn't get it." His knuckles went white around the crystal. "My younger brother. He was pregnant when he died. Alone. Afraid. I was too busy building this empire to notice he was falling apart." The grief in his voice was so raw, so unexpected from this ice-cold man, that my protest died. "I won't make that mistake twice," Seo-jin continued. "You'll stay here as my guest until you're stable enough to figure out your next move. I'll cover medical expenses. You'll have your own room, privacy, and no obligations beyond taking care of yourself and that baby. Consider it atonement. I don't need your pity." "Good, because I'm not offering it. I'm offering practicality." He finally met my eyes, and something in that frozen gaze softened. "I have 60 empty rooms in this penthouse, Minjun. Let me fill one of them with something other than ghosts." I should have said no. Should have walked out with my pride intact. But pride doesn't keep you warm at night. Doesn't feed the baby growing inside you. "Okay," I whispered. "But just until I find a job. A place. I won't be a burden. We'll discuss terms in the morning. For now, rest." He turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Oh, and Minjun? One rule. My mother visits occasionally. This traditional, conservative. If she discovers you're here and pregnant, she won't approve. She'll make both our lives hell." His expression darkened. So when she visits tomorrow, don't mention the baby. As far as anyone's concerned, you're an old friend staying temporarily. Can you do that? I nodded, fear creeping up my spine. What happens if she finds out? Seojin's silence was answer enough. As the door clicked shut behind him, I placed both hands on my still flat stomach and whispered to the tiny life inside me, what have we gotten ourselves into? Outside, Seoul glittered like a promise. Or a warning. I fell asleep not knowing which. I found the prenatal vitamins on the third morning. They were sitting on the kitchen counter next to a perfectly plated breakfast, grilled salmon, steamed vegetables, and brown rice, with a note in sharp, precise handwriting, folic acid. Take with food. Doctor's orders. No signature. No warmth. Just facts. That was Seojin's way. Cold efficiency wrapped in unexpected care. He left for work before dawn and returned after midnight, yet somehow my meals appeared like clockwork. The refrigerator stayed stocked with foods I didn't remember mentioning I liked. A pregnancy pillow materialized on my bed. He never asked for thanks, never even acknowledged these gestures. Living with him was like living with a ghost who paid attention. You don't have to do all this, I said one evening when our paths actually crossed in the hallway. He barely glanced up from his phone. Do what? Take care of me. The food, the vitamins, I'm not doing anything. His tone was dismissive. My housekeeper handles it. But I'd met his housekeeper. Mrs. Park came twice a week and had no idea what I liked for breakfast. I didn't call him out on the lie. The ultrasound appointment came on a Tuesday. I'd scheduled it weeks ago, back when Ji-woo and I were still together, still pretending we had a future. The clinic was across the city, and I told no one I was going. This moment, seeing my baby for the first time, felt too private, too sacred to share with anyone. Especially not with the cold stranger whose charity I was living on. The technician smiled as she moved the wand across my stomach. There's your baby. 14 weeks. Good strong heartbeat. The screen blurred through my tears. That tiny flutter of movement, those impossibly small hands, my baby. Real and alive and depending on me to figure out this mess. Would you like photos? I nodded, unable to speak. On the subway ride back, I clutched those ultrasound pictures like treasure, crying silently behind my mask. What kind of life could I give this child? I had no job, no home, no future. Just borrowed time in a stranger's penthouse. I was so lost in my spiral that I didn't notice Seojin sitting in the living room when I returned. You went out. Not a question. An observation. Just an appointment. His eyes tracked to the envelope in my hands. The one with the clinic's logo. Understanding flickered across his face. You went alone. I didn't think you'd want to. Next time, take my driver. He stood abruptly. The baby needs you safe. He disappeared into his study before I could respond. His mother arrived like a winter storm. Seojina. Cha Yuna's voice echoed through the penthouse, sharp and commanding. Where are you hiding? I froze in the guest room, heart hammering. Seojin had warned me she was coming, but I wasn't prepared for the reality. I could hear her heels clicking on marble, getting closer. Mother. Seojin's voice was carefully neutral. You're early. I wanted to surprise you. Make sure you're eating properly, not just. Her voice stopped abruptly. Who is that? I'd been spotted. Stepping out felt like walking to an execution. Yuna was elegantly dressed, diamonds glittering at her throat, her face a mask of expensive cosmetics and barely concealed disdain. Who, she repeated icily, is this? Kang Minjun. An old friend from university. Seojin's lie was smooth as silk. He's going through a difficult divorce. I offered him a place to stay temporarily. Yuna's eyes raked over me like I was something she'd scraped off her shoe. A divorce. How unfortunate. She stepped closer and I fought the urge to back away. You look unwell, Minjun SSI. Tired. Just stress from the divorce proceedings. I managed. She didn't believe me. I could see it in the way her gaze lingered on my loose sweater, the slight fullness of my face. Seojin, darling, can we speak privately? In the study, their voices rose and fell like a storm. I couldn't hear words, but I didn't need to. Yuna was suspicious, and suspicious was dangerous. When she finally left, Seojin emerged looking exhausted. "She's having you investigated?" he said flatly. "My mother doesn't trust coincidences. Maybe I should leave." "No." The word was sharp, final. "You're not going back out there." That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in the living room, staring at the ultrasound photos by lamplight, wondering what the hell I was going to do. "Can't sleep either?" I jumped. Seojin stood in the doorway, dressed in pajamas, the first time I'd seen him in anything casual. He looked younger, almost human. "Sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you." "You didn't." He sat down, maintaining careful distance. His eyes fell on the photos. "May I?" I handed them over, watching his expression soften in ways I didn't know his face could manage. My brother's baby would have been about this far along when. He stopped, jaw tightening. When he decided he couldn't do it anymore. He was alone. I was too focused on quarterly reports to see he was drowning. "Seojin, that wasn't your fault. Wasn't it?" He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw the guilt eating him alive. I had all this wealth, all this power, and I couldn't save the one person who mattered. "So you're saving me instead. Is that so terrible?" "No," I whispered. "It's the kindest thing anyone's ever done for me." Something shifted in the air between us. His hand moved, just slightly, like he wanted to reach for mine but didn't dare. The moment shattered with the sound of a key in the lock. We both froze. No one else had keys to the penthouse. The door swung open, revealing a beautiful woman in a designer coat, her face twisted with fury. "Seojin," she said, voice dripping venom. "Who the fuck is that, and why is he wearing your clothes?" Seojin stood slowly, positioning himself between us. "Haewon, we need to talk." "Get out." Lee Haewon didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Authority radiated from her like heat, her perfectly manicured finger pointing at me like I was vermin. "Haewon, you can't just." "I can't." She whirled on Seojin, eyes blazing. "I'm your fiancé. I have every right to know why there's some random Omega living in our home." "This isn't your home," Seojin said coldly. "And our engagement is a business arrangement. Nothing more." The slap echoed through the penthouse. Seojin's head barely moved, but I flinched like I'd been hit. Haewon's hand trembled as she lowered it, tears of rage streaming down her perfect face. "A business arrangement," she repeated bitterly. 5 years, Seojin. 5 years of playing the perfect fiancé for your family, for the company, and this is what I get? Humiliation? You knew what this was from the beginning. I knew you were cold, not cruel." She turned to me, and the hatred in her eyes made my blood freeze. "I don't know who you are or what sob story you fed him, but you have 24 hours to disappear. Or I tell his mother everything." "Haewon." 24 hours. She slammed the door so hard the walls shook. Silence crashed down like an avalanche. "I'll pack," I said quietly. This was always temporary anyway. "Minjun." "No, she's right. I'm ruining your life." I headed toward my room, vision blurring with tears. "I'll be gone by morning." He didn't try to stop me. I was folding the last of my clothes when I heard voices in the hallway. My door was cracked open, and Haewon's voice carried clearly. "Appreciate you coming on such short notice, Chairwoman Cha." My blood turned to ice. Seojin's mother was here. "You said it was urgent," Yuna's clipped tone responded. "What's so important it couldn't wait until morning?" "Your son is harboring a pregnant Omega in his penthouse. I thought you should know before the scandal spreads." The world tilted. "Pregnant?" Yuna's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "Are you certain?" I saw the symptoms myself. The nausea, the fatigue, the way he protects his stomach. And Seojin is being protective. Abnormally so. This could destroy everything. Papers rustled. If the board finds out, if the shareholders, we need to remove him. Quietly. I may have a solution. Haewon's voice turned calculating. The Omega's ex-boyfriend. Park Ji-woo. He's amenable to negotiation. My heart stopped. You contacted him? He's willing to take Minjun back. For a price. And he's also willing to ensure that the problem doesn't continue. The implication hit me like a freight train. They were going to pay Jiwoo to take me away. To get rid of my baby. Make it happen, Yuna commanded. I want him gone by tomorrow night. I barely made it to the bathroom before I vomited. The knock came at midnight. Minjun? Open up. It's me. Jiwoo's voice. Soft, apologetic. Everything it hadn't been the night he threw me out. Go away. Please, baby. I made a mistake. I want you back. Want us back. Every instinct screamed danger. I pressed against the door. You threw me away like garbage. I was scared. But I've had time to think and... His voice cracked convincingly. I miss you. I miss us. Come home. We'll figure out the baby thing together. You're lying. I have money now. Enough for an apartment, for the baby. Just open the door. Let me prove it. My hand hovered over the lock. What if he was telling the truth? What if I was throwing away my chance at? Step away from him. Now. Seo-jin's voice cut through the air like a blade. I yanked open the door to find him standing between me and Jiwoo, expression murderous. Who the hell are you? Jiwoo demanded. Someone who knows exactly how much Chairwoman Cha paid you. Seo-jin held up his phone, a bank transfer displayed clearly. 100 million won to take him away. Another 100 to solve the problem. Those were her exact words. Jiwoo's fake concern evaporated. So what? He's got nowhere else to go. No job, no money, no options. You think you're saving him? You're just delaying the inevitable. Seo-jin moved so fast I barely saw it. One moment Jiwoo was sneering, the next he was against the wall, Seo-jin's forearm across his throat. Touch him, and I'll destroy everything you love. Your job, your reputation, your future. I will erase you. His voice was Arctic death. Are we clear? Jiwoo nodded frantically. The moment Seo-jin released him, he bolted. We stood in the hallway, both breathing hard. Seo-jin turned to me, and something in his expression made my chest ache. I'm not letting her take you. Either of you. Seo-jin, she's your mother. And you're... He stopped, jaw clenching. You're someone who matters. Why? The question burst out. Why are you doing this? Risk everything for someone you barely know. Because for the first time in years, I feel something other than emptiness. The admission seemed to shock him as much as me. Because you're real, Minjun. Real fear, real hope, real life growing inside you. And I'm so tired of existing in this perfect, frozen hell. Before I could respond, his phone rang. He answered, face draining of color. I see. Yes, I'll be there. He hung up, looking at me with something like devastation. My mother filed for emergency guardianship. She's claiming you're mentally unstable and I'm unfit to make decisions. The hearing is in 3 days. She can't. She can. And if she wins, she'll take your baby the moment it's born, and I'll never see you again. His hand finally reached for mine. Fight with me, he whispered. Please. I laced our fingers together and held on tight. We fight. The lawyer's office smelled like expensive leather and broken dreams. They have a strong case, Attorney Kim said bluntly, spreading documents across the mahogany table. Chairwoman Cha has documented your homelessness, lack of employment, and history of depression. She's painting you as unstable and Mr. Cha as emotionally compromised. That's bullshit, Seo-jin snapped. That's the law. Kim looked at me with something like pity. Minjun, I need you to understand what we're up against. She has unlimited resources, political connections, and 5 decades of building her reputation. We have 3 days. My hand moved to my stomach, a habit now. The baby kicked as if sensing my fear. What are our options? Prove she's manipulating the situation. Show malicious intent. But we'd need evidence, witnesses, something concrete. I'll testify, I said. My voice didn't shake. I wouldn't let it. I'll tell them everything. How she bribed Jiwoo, how she plotted to take my baby. It's your word against hers. She'll destroy your credibility. Then we make sure it's not just my word, Seo-jin said quietly. He looked at me and I saw the decision forming behind those cold eyes. I'm going public. I'll tell them the baby is mine. What? No. I grabbed his arm. You'll lose everything. The company, your reputation. I already lost everything that mattered when my brother died. His hand covered mine. I won't lose you too. The words hung between us, heavy with meaning we didn't have time to explore. Kim cleared his throat. If you claim paternity, Mr. Cha, you'll need to commit fully. Marriage would strengthen your case considerably. Marriage? To Seojin. The cold Seo who left vitamins on my counter and held my ultrasound photos like they were precious. We'll do it, Seojin said. We need to talk about this. Minjun. He turned to face me fully. I know this isn't the proposal you dreamed of. I know I'm not who you would have chosen. But I'm choosing you. Both of you. If you'll let me. The yes caught in my throat, tangled with fear and hope and something terrifyingly close to love. Okay, I whispered. We do this together. The courthouse felt like a coliseum. Yuna sat across the aisle in a cream Chanel suit, surrounded by lawyers like an empress with her guards. She didn't look at me once. I didn't exist to her, just an obstacle to remove. Haewon testified first. Cool, collected, painting me as a manipulative Omega who seduced Seojin for his money. He appeared out of nowhere, she said smoothly. Conveniently pregnant, conveniently homeless. Mr. Cha has a history of guilt regarding his brother's death. Minjun exploited that vulnerability. My lawyer stood. Ms. Lee, isn't it true that you contacted Mr. Kang's ex-boyfriend and facilitated a bribe to remove him from Mr. Cha's life? I was protecting Seojin from a gold digger. By paying someone to coerce a pregnant Omega into an abortion? The courtroom erupted. The judge's gavel slammed down. Then it was my turn. Walking to the stand felt like walking through water. Every eye judged me. The poor Omega, the charity case, the homewrecker. Mr. Kang, Yuna's lawyer began, circling like a shark. You were homeless when you met my client's son. Desperate. Wouldn't you do anything to secure your future? I didn't want to be a burden. Yet you stayed. Accepted his charity. Got comfortable in his wealth. He leaned in. Isn't it true you fabricated a connection to trap him? No. Seojin helped me because you reminded him of his dead brother. You used his grief as a weapon. That's not, my voice cracked. Tears burned my eyes. I was losing. They were turning my truth into lies. Then Seojin stood. Your Honor, I have something to say. The judge frowned. Mr. Cha, you'll have your chance to testify. I love him. Silence crashed down. Even Yuna's mask cracked. Seojin walked to the stand, standing beside me like a shield. I love Minjun. Not because he reminds me of anyone, not out of guilt or obligation. I love the way he fights for his baby, the way he refuses to give up even when the world tells him to. I love that he makes me feel human again. He turned to me and his eyes were wet. I spent years being the perfect son, building the perfect company, living the perfect lie. And I was dying inside. Minjun saved me as much as I saved him. Maybe more. Seojina, Yuna hissed. Stop this nonsense. I'm done being your puppet, mother. He faced her fully. You can take the company. Take my inheritance. But you will not take my family. The courtroom doors opened. Two walked in and my blood froze. But he wasn't looking at Yoon. He was looking at the judge. I have evidence, he announced, holding up his phone. Recordings of Chairwoman Cha offering me money to remove Minjun. To eliminate the problem. I kept them as insurance. You traitorous, Yuna started. I'm a lot of things, Ju said quietly, glancing at me. But I won't help you hurt a baby. Not even for your money. The judge reviewed the recordings. With each second, Yuna's empire crumbled. Emergency guardianship denied, the judge ruled. Furthermore, I'm recommending an investigation into Chairwoman Cha's attempted coercion and potential conspiracy to commit assault. We won. 6 months later, I woke to crying. Not distressed crying, hungry crying. I smiled, carefully lifting Minesio from her bassinet. Our daughter. Dark hair like her? Well, like Seojin even though the biology was complicated. I've got her. Seojin appeared in the doorway, hair messy from sleep, looking nothing like the cold Seo I'd first met. He took Minho with surprising gentleness, cradling her like she was made of glass. You're getting good at this, I said. I have a good teacher. He sat beside me on the bed, our daughter between us. Minjun, I know we did this backwards. Baby first, feelings second, marriage out of necessity. Are you regretting it? God, no. He looked at me with eyes full of warmth. I'm just saying we did it wrong. So let me do one thing right. He shifted Minnesota to one arm and pulled out a small box. Marry me again. Not for courts or custody or obligation. Marry me because I love you. Because you're my home. The ring was simple. Perfect. Yes, I whispered, tears streaming. Always yes. Minho yawned, utterly unimpressed by the romance. We laughed and it sounded like healing. Outside, Seoul glittered with possibility. Inside, we had everything we needed.